Hello, everyone, and welcome to an emergency edition of the Own the Moment podcast. My name is TJ Lasig. I'm one of the co-founders here at OTM, and as always, I'm joined by my co-founder, Mr. Justin Herzig. Justin, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a Thursday. Things are a little off balance. This is new for us, but I'm excited because there's some news that it hasn't been released yet, but by the time you're watching this, it'll have just been released.
Yes, we've got a very special guest with us here today. As you can see, we've got the man that's making things happen over at Dapper Labs, joining us today to talk a little bit about Collector Score and some other things that they have going on. So we've got Mr. Jacob Eisenberg. Jacob, good morning to you as well.
TJ, Justin, thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're pumped to have you on. I think it's going to be a great conversation here. And so just to give everyone that's listening a little bit of context, we're recording this at right around 10 a.m. Eastern time, Thursday morning. Not sure exactly when this is going to end up being released, but mostly just going to be kicking things over to Jacob to talk a little bit about some of the decisions and the things that they have going on with regards to Collector Score and some of the upcoming pack drops. So I think that's about all the intro I need. And Jacob, I'll kick it over to you to give your perspective, and then I'm sure Justin is going to have some questions along the way, if I had to guess.
Maybe a couple.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think like the TLDR of what I want to share with you and the community at large is that, the last week or two has reaffirmed our confidence and our excitement around Collector Score. Going forward, we have a lot of faith that Collector Score will figure out a lot of it will correct a lot of our eligibility issues that we've had in the past around pack drops, and it will reward collectors that are active in the marketplace in ways that we're really excited about. And what I wanted to come on here today to share are a whole new wave of bonuses that we're bringing in specifically for the Holo Icon drop. But if they're received positively from the community, we're certainly open to expanding these and doubling down on them for future drops as well. And those three bonuses are really interesting because it really allows for collectors in our community to go about collecting in different ways and still receive bonuses or boosts around Collector Score. So one bonus that we have that we're launching today is called the set completion bonus, which means if you complete a set, every single moment in your complete set gets 2x the points on that moment. So if you complete anything from the gift to cosmics, if you complete that complete set, all of the points that you get per moment become 2x. So that's a way to kind of boost your score and become more eligible for upcoming drops. So that's one that we know the community has been after for a long time and should be excited about. And it's a way for collectors, big and small, to really kind of, start their journey and start understanding the value of completing a set in a whole new way. So that's exciting. The second bonus that I'm excited to share here is this concept called the series team bonus. Now, what this one is if you can collect at least one moment from each player on a team of your choice from a given series, so the series 2 base set, right? Just as an example, you get a 50% bonus on each moment in that set, in that kind of team bonus. So that one we're excited about because it provides a very low entry price for collectors to start building up a team set, so to speak, and getting a bonus as a result. And then last but not least, we're creating a bonus here around a full team set. So if you collect at least one moment from each player ever from your favorite team or any given team, you can score big. And more specifically, when I say score big, I want to pull up the exact numbers here just so that I'm not speaking out of turn, but bear with me for 1 second here.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited. This is definitely something that people have wanted. And I think as you're pulling that up, that first thing around sets, I think the most interesting is you all found a way to reward the more difficult sets, not, different than the more easy, the gift, the hustle and show. And I think that's a great positive for the industry.
So I appreciate it, A. And B, just pulled it up, a complete set. So if you own at least one team moment from every player ever to be featured on that team in a moment, you unlock an additional 150% bonus on the score for each of the moments in that full team completion. So, hypothetically, we'll use the Phoenix Suns as an example. I think that there are about 12 or 13 moments from Suns all time, including, not only Leandro Barbosa from the Run It Back set, but also Ricky Rubio from Series 1 base set, things like that. If you collect all of those moments, then you get a 150% bonus for each of the moments in that full team completion.
And so when we say 150 there, we're saying 2.5x, like it's the 2x plus that extra 50, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. That definitely adds some additional value to all those run it backs, because those are definitely, as we like to call them, the bottlenecks for a lot of teams.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
I love the team aspect here. I think that there's, when we go on the Top Shot site, we have the ability to select our favorite team, but I love adding some utility to like, okay, I'm a Sixers fan. Now there's like something that I can benefit from of kind of showing my Sixers fandom and collecting all of the different moments from the Sixers. So I think that's a great addition.
Yeah, I think it's super foundational to being an NBA fan, right? And there are certain fans that certainly love collecting their favorite players, and there are kind of LeBron heads that will follow LeBron from Cleveland to Miami to Cleveland to the Lakers. And that's a perfectly normal and acceptable way to be an NBA fan these days. But there is still a huge subsection of NBA fans that rock out and die hard with their favorite team. And we want to, not only support those fans, but also the fans that might have a second favorite team or a third favorite team, because it's not restrictive to only your favorite team. If you want to collect all of the Hawks players and all of the Sixers players, regardless of the fact that they're in a rivalry and in a series right now, you can get bonuses from both of those sides.
Yeah, I like that. And I think when we're really going with that collector angle, this does take the next step where I am now benefiting. I am increasing my chances of getting in these more challenging drops by collecting moments of teams that I want to collect. Because before we kind of saw the unfortunate side effect of, okay, so you need the 2,500 collector score to get to this drop. The best way to do it is to go collect all these $2 moments of probably players I'm not the most excited about. And it kind of just became kind of gaming the system. I like that this says, hey, like obviously there's still going to be some element, but now collect what you want, collect what you like, and we're going to reward you for that. And that can be from a Top Shot angle of collect the sets that you like because you already started these challenges and you want to complete that whole set. Or you're a fan of this team and these players, and therefore you want to complete that. And I think there continues to be a strategy element as well, is because when these playoff packs get released, tomorrow, that's a lot of new moments that to get that extra 150%. So,
yeah, well said. And I think like what since I joined the team last summer, it's just we know that our community is full of some of the most intelligent, collector savvy heads I've ever talked to. So I'm excited to see which angles and maybe market inefficiencies collectors find, be it, the Pelicans only have X number of total moments you need.
I'm sure Justin's already thinking about that in his head right now. He's like, okay.
The spreadsheet's going. We're good. We're good.
So I'm excited to see those spreadsheets circulating. I think it's going to cause a lot of excitement, a lot of hype, and people always in our community are trying to find market inefficiencies. So, how that bears out, we'll see. I want to really emphasize that all of these bonuses that we're releasing with Holo Icon, we feel good about them. We have a strong instinct that the community will respond favorably to them. But as we're trying to perfect collector score in the next few weeks, months, we are going to be taking feedback really seriously and iterating incrementally until we get to what we think is kind of a perfect collector score that we can, say maybe not so far down the road of like this upcoming legendary will require a collector score of X, but we can say for certain this upcoming drop will continue to have a set completion bonus with the same exact kind of coefficients.
Because I think that's helpful, because my kind of thought is, we've said, hey, the collector score is fluid. It is a process. It is something that we're learning and we're continuing to test. And we're now putting out these goals, these objectives that are not easy. Some people have already seen the sets, and we know that over the course of this entire Top Shot 100 years that Ram talks about, sets are going to be important. But this teams one is very new. So I think it's a little, we want to set expectations that if I go and I complete this, it'll help me in the short term. And it sounds like we believe it's going to continue to be impactful, but we want to make it clear this isn't 100%. There's still a chance that things change, we adapt. But I think setting that expectation that, hey, we're trying, it's helpful now. There's no question there. We'll get into the holo drop and, we can get some confirmation, but there's still a chance long-term things do shift a little. So set that expectation.
Yeah. And I think in the absence of communication in the past, maybe the community has looked at kind of us iterating or us changing from a cynical perspective of, how are we going to screw someone out of something? I think it's far more kind of actually the converse of that, of we don't want to prescribe where we'll be in 3 months because it's possible that the community hates this, right? Like we don't think they will, but there's a non-zero chance that the majority of people say, no, this is not what we want out of Top Shot. So we want to kind of crawl before we walk. I've said that before. We'll continue to say that. And I think that this is a really good example of us crawling, gaining data, gaining insights, perfecting the bonuses off of the back of that data and insight.
Yep, that makes sense. And maybe if we could peek behind the curtain a little, we've heard about this economist. Maybe there's actually one or two. Is this the economist really creating this, or kind of what role is that person playing in this, and where did this all come from, this kind of thought process?
Yeah, so I think this came from, Roham and Alan and Arthur. Like we have had really strong aspirations around collector score for literally months, right? And the real kind of concept of collector score was kind of necessitated out of this meme of who are true collectors? How do you determine true collectors? Why are you rewarding someone with 15 base set moments the same as someone with 2 legendary moments? Those are very different things. So this is a better way for us to kind of create a fairly kind of straightforward concept. And obviously bonuses make it a little more complicated, but just a way for us to let every collector in the Top Shot community know exactly where they stand as a collector and be able to stack themselves up against others for upcoming drops. As far as kind of where our economist and some other new additions to the team kind of come in and help frame this is around what those bonuses look like. What are potential repercussions if we set a collector score really high for a drop? What will that mean if people don't become eligible, or become eligible and don't get the pack? Will we expect a massive sell-off after the fact? And I think the most important thing that both the new hires and the economist have kind of reaffirmed to us is we just need to keep on drilling down this concept that collector score is going nowhere. And while we might tinker with it from drop to drop, the safest way for you as a collector to ensure you'll be eligible for every drop going forward is to really just continue to build up on your collection and build up on your collector score. And as we're going to be able to release blogs just detailing kind of how these bonuses work, again, we anticipate that spreadsheets are going to be sent out through Twitter and through Discord, and people will start to find kind of the most effective and efficient ways for them to boost their score in fast amounts of time.
And I like the way you touched on it there in terms of, we see with the challenges, right? People complete the challenge and then we do see the stark sell-off that happens at the end. But with this set of 3 options that you just laid out, there's such a diversified way to accomplish them that it's not like a concentrated okay, everyone went to do this one thing, and then after the drop, we're going to see a reduction. So I feel like by just creating so many different avenues that people could go about trying to improve their collector score, I think it minimizes that risk of seeing sharp sell-offs in specific pockets. Now, yeah, maybe like you said, the spreadsheets get built and there's a very clear like one place where everyone's going to collect these scores, but that's fine. Then you guys learn from that and we continue to adjust. So I really like the innovative way and creative way that you guys are thinking about this, and I think it's going to be received positively by most. Now, unfortunately, I'm sure the people that aren't happy with it will be the loudest people, and we'll let you guys know. But I don't know. What do you think, Justin? I think overall, there's not much that you could be upset with about this. I like the idea.
Yep, I like it. And I think what's most important is, we are still in less than a year of Top Shot existence. This is still a path forward. We were all talking about transparency. We've been talking about a roadmap, and this is just another form of a roadmap. We care about a roadmap of what moments are getting minted and what sets are released, but we also care about a roadmap of, okay, and how do we qualify to have a chance at those drops? And I think that's what we're getting to. There were the early steps around the collector score. There were some positives, some cons, and it's just continuing to improve it. And what I see is people want to know, what should I go to the marketplace and buy? And this gives me a bit more of a strategic aspect of where I should go. And as Jacob said, whether you're going to lean on, the various people out there that are going to put out some content around kind of some tips and advice and, hey, here's some value. But even beyond that, it's just, okay, I want this player, I want this team. Now I have a better idea. Maybe I should complete that set first. Maybe I should save up and try to get that, run it back, because I really want that, that one player that just completes my team that I otherwise can't get that moment. And I think that level from me as a strategic collector, I would call it, it kind of excites me.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing to flag here, and again, in the spirit of whatever we roll out today, no matter how positive the reception is, or negative for that matter, it's not a finished product, right? Like, there's one aspect of it that I think we'll get FAQs about, which is if you own stacked moments, that is multiple of the same play, that doesn't contribute or benefit your set completion bonus, right? Maybe one day we will, and I think that it's in both our best interest and our intention to build a bonus around having multiple of the same play. But for this incarnation, not something that we have ready quite yet.
That makes sense. And so one thing that I've been hearing from the community is people when talking about collector score, and as you said, trying to understand that 15 commons is not the same thing as 2 legendaries. Has there been any thought about maybe including something around badges? Maybe badges having some additional level of value in collector score, because, hey, Top Shot is telling me that these moments have some sort of specialness to them, and that's why we give them a badge. Maybe that should also count for the collector score.
I think it's something that we are actively looking at. I think for kind of the number of bonuses that we're rolling out with this one, it became somewhat difficult to also tie those in. But I would not be surprised at all if, be it the next rare or the next legendary drop or sometime this summer, you start to see added bonuses around those moments if we determine it makes sense in our kind of both strategy, but also, leaning on the new heads that have joined the team, whether our economist thinks that there's a downside to that, whatever, right? But we will see. I anticipate that those will have bonuses. In the meantime, I should also mention that there will again be a net marketplace spend bonus for this drop. It's a little different than last time, primarily because we're actually looking at a net spend since January 31st rather than since the start of beta. And what this means is that collectors that came in kind of at the top during the height of virality, they're the most kind of recognized through this system.
I think that makes sense. And I know that we've kind of teased it, but that Series 3, that run it back, like, oh my gosh, the excitement around that, because those are going to be new moments of new players on teams that people are going to need to get that, to keep that collection. So there's not going to be any downtime this summer. The wife's going to love that.
I empathize there. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. What I like, I think we're still kind of both taking community feedback and thinking through the summer plans. It's very possible that the off season is not called Series 3 because we've heard overwhelming feedback from the community that they want regular seasons to be the incremental upgrade in series number. So we'll see. I mean, it's possible, but I want to just set the stage here.
Yeah. And I like that, actually. I like, from a personal standpoint, each season having its own series, and then maybe you have off-season sets or whatever. That's cool. Right. There's one other thing that I think we need to talk about, though, been on everyone's mind is, well, if you're changing the collector's score, there's probably a reason why we're doing it right now and why we're talking about it now. Do you want to get into that?
Yeah. So we are setting we're as this is getting published, we have new blogs, or a new blog around Holo Icon. And the major headline and what I recognize the community sticker shock is going to be around is the collector score needed to get into Holo Icon. And we chose 7,500 as the number of collector points you need to become eligible for this drop. And there were a handful of reasons, but the primary reason I would say is Holo Icons are legendary packs and they should be legendary to collect. So looking at the data, we want our most kind of active and passionate collectors that have super high collector scores already to have a really good chance of not only getting into the queue, but actually once you're in the queue, being able to actually get the pack, right? If you only have a 10, 20% chance of getting that pack, it kind of diminishes the excitement. While you can still have your fingers crossed, it's not necessarily something you can anticipate. So we're setting a collector score of 7,500 for this one, specifically because we think that the most active collectors are going to be able to use these bonuses to become eligible or become close to eligible. Of course, with every single drop going forward, your collector score will remain a very crucial part of your kind of eligibility requirements. So whether you can work your way into eligibility for this drop or whether you just continue to ascend the mountain for future drops, building up that collector score will come in handy. And specifically in the realm of Holo Icon, we anticipate a lot of excitement from our most active collectors because these packs are going to be selling for the Retro Series 1 price point of $230 per pack. So you as a collector, there's a lot on the line of trying to get eligible for this, because if you can get a Holo Icon pack that contains not only the Holo Icon moment, but also 3 rare metallic gold moments and 6 base set moments, that's a hell of a haul. So this is a continuation of our thank you fans kind of journey that we've been on for the past month or so. And, we certainly have not gotten everything right. And to make a baseball analogy, I'd say there was a stretch there where we were very focused on hitting home runs. And I think we're kind of recalibrating what we need to do week by week to just hit singles, get runners on base, and drive them in.
I think that's because you're in New York, so you're used to a little more of the Yankees. I'm in Tampa. We just play small ball. So if you need to come down, spend a little time in Florida, we can teach you how to hit those singles. A lot of walks.
Yeah, hey, there's a little bad blood between the Yanks and the Rays right now, but it's an impressive ball club you have down there.
Tampa, title town. No, so that's great. And I think, you came on the show. You're telling us all about all these bonuses, all these way to collect. We saw 20,000+ people. I think it was almost 25K that qualified for the previous one at 2,500. Now, 2,500 to 7,500 is a large jump. But I do believe, if your goal, as you said, is, and there's not going to be nearly as many of these holos, to give yourself better than that 10 to 20% chance. And so I think the people who are able to qualify this are people that are, well-deserved of having that chance at a legendary, as you said. But I also do believe that, hey, when you combine that marketplace bonus, anything you spend now will increase your marketplace bonus. If you're able to strategically spend to acquire these 1.5, these, 50%, these 2Xs, these 150%, those are substantial bonuses that should provide the opportunity for people to level up if this is the opportunity. And I think my favorite part about all this is at least we've been talking about for the past week, the customer sentiment, the consumer sentiment, collector sentiment has really kind of shifted. And, even TJ and I, who this is our life, this is our industry. A couple weeks ago, you didn't have as much confidence that, hey, if you bought, the prices were going to go down. But what we've seen from a long-term and just increasing our confidence in Top Shot's decision-making and your entire team, people who are willing to go spend to get in that legendary, the market does look better. And I think from a long-term wise, all these decisions that are being made are, as you said, they're singles, they're steps in that right direction. And that's why I think I'd have a bit more confidence saying like, hey, yes, I understand if I'm active in the marketplace right now to level up that 7,500, it's because I want that holo, but it's also because I believe that I'm buying moments that are really great for my collection long-term at a value. And, I think we're in a good place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention that, of course, if you have all 30 Cool Cats moments in your collection, that's a turnkey into this drop as well.
There we go. Cool Cats are going to the moon part 2. I was just thinking that myself over here. And then, so I guess my last question is in terms of timing, right? It sounds like there's going to be an announcement about the Holo Icon, and then the snapshot will be taken after that fact, so people will have time to adjust accordingly and do what they need to do in order to become eligible for the Holo Icon. Do you guys have the kind of timing there figured out?
Yeah, so I don't have the specific hour figured out, but we're planning to announce this today. Today is Thursday, June 10th, and the drop will happen Thursday, June 17th. So the snapshot for eligibility will be taken, I'd imagine, a few hours before the drop happens on June 17th, which will give collectors 6 or 7 days to become eligible for this.
Awesome. More than enough time. Yep.
It is a super kind of, to your point, like becoming eligible at 2,500 for premium pack. That was a slightly easier barrier to entry. But the intention here is that legendary packs in general is kind of the ascension of that mountaintop and the peak of your Top Shot collector experience. You need to have a legendary collection to be able to get into these drops. So if it doesn't happen this time around for you as a collector, like, rest assured, continuing to build up your collection will only help and increase your chances for upcoming legendary drops.
Yep, I think that's completely fair. And I mean, as you mentioned, that Cool Cats, for people that weren't, weren't sure whether or not there was true utility. I know when the official announcement came out after the challenge ended that like, oh, you'd be eligible for the rest of them. People were like, okay, that's not a big deal. Like, I'm already probably eligible. Not that many more people were eligible for the 2,500, and far fewer are going to be eligible for the 7,500. So that adds substantial utility for those 2,900 or so people that own the LaMelo and own that entire Cool Cat. So hashtag NLL, that 9 Lives Lounge.
Plunge Father is going to be a happy man.
There's going to be parties today.
Awesome. Any final words, Jacob, before we wrap this up here? Really appreciate you taking the time. I think everything is clearly very well thought out, and I thought you explained it very well. And I think people are going to be happy to hear all of this.
No, I appreciate it, man. Guys, just thanks again for the opportunity. I think that as we're kind of polishing this up today, some things that whether they make it into this drop or will be coming down the pipe around bonuses, we are kind of exploring what a challenge bonus could look like. We are exploring kind of a continued upgrade and optimization around what marketplace bonuses should look like around net spend. And yeah, I think that's more than anything what I wanted to convey here. But, I know we had a leak a couple of weeks ago about what moments are making the Holo Icon, but like, just to indulge me for a quick second here, we're talking about LaMelo Ball Holo Icon. We're talking about a Kevin Durant Holo Icon, a Joel Embiid Holo Icon, Luka Doncic one-handed three-pointer game winner for the challenge reward. Like, this is going to be an epic set. So
yes.
Very excited about it. And, we'll see next Thursday. There's going to be a lot of movement, I anticipate, with collectors trying to become eligible. And, I think more than anything, I'm excited to see collectors like yourselves and others in the community really dig into these bonuses and try to find ways to kind of upgrade their score on a fast-tracked level.
Yeah, without a doubt. It'll be a busy couple of days putting that out. Already got some stuff. Gears are grinding. We are going to put it into motion.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jacob. Really appreciate it. And I think that'll do it. Any final words from you, Justin?
No, it's been fantastic, Jacob. Thank you for coming on. I think the community will really appreciate it. As TJ very eloquently said, this is definitely a well thought out, well-constructed plan. And as you said, this is still just one more step. So I think it's a great step in the right direction, and we'll continue to go from there.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Looking
Thanks
forward
a lot.
to it.
Good luck. Good luck to everyone out there. And so for Justin, for Jacob, and for producer Coop behind the scenes, I'm TJ Lasig, and we will see you guys next time.